Why teens find social media irresistible and what to do about it. I'm Dr. Lisa Damour, an expert in adolescent psychology. I'm going to give you my top tips, tools, and strategies on how to understand why teens are drawn to social media and how to help make sure they have a healthy relationship with it. I'll also help you know when it's time to worry and what to do if you are concerned about your teenager's relationship with social media. First and foremost, teenagers use social media often to build and maintain really healthy relationships with the people in their lives. And there is true value to this. It's also true that teenagers learn a lot through social media and can use it to pursue healthy and important interests. Especially, it's also true for teenagers who may be marginalized in their in-real life experience, in their offline lives. Say, for example, teenagers in the LGBTQ community. Social media can be really important to their overall mental health. It's often through social media platforms that they can find a sense of safety and belonging that can be not only good for them, but at times even life-saving. Social media is complicated, it's not all good, and it's not all bad, and that's part of what makes it so hard to know how to be a good parent or caregiver who's helping the young person figure out how to navigate it. So let's talk about how to assess your teen's online social media use. So when we walk up to this question, I think one good thing to do is to think in two big categories. The first is content, and then the second is problematic use. These are the two things that psychologists worry about when we worry about social media. So starting with content, what we're talking about here is, what is your kid actually seeing online? And the fact of the matter is that social media can and does expose teenagers to truly horrendous and destructive content. It can range from content that promotes eating disorders or promotes self-harm to content that promotes misogyny, racism, hate in any of its various forms. Teenagers are without question exposed to this content at times online, and that exposure can have meaningful implications for how they feel about themselves, how they feel about others, their own behavior, and can be quite destructive and damaging. So in order to think about the content question when it comes to social media, what you're going to want to know is, what is your kid looking at? And to start to assess this question, one way to think about it is to use the language that teenagers themselves use, which is that social media platforms, let's say TikTok, for example, they have sides. This is how teens will talk about it. And when a teenager is talking about what side of TikTok they are on, what they are referring to is the content that is predominating in their feed as a result of algorithms. Okay, so here's what's happening. When any of us use social media, media companies themselves collect tremendous data on how we're using it, what we look at, what we like, what we interact with, what we scroll right past. And they use those data to make very, very careful and data-informed decisions about what to show us next. Anything we express an interest in, we're going to see more content like that. So some teenagers are on the cat video side of TikTok. They like watching cat videos, they spend time on them, and so TikTok is serving up cat video after cat video. Other teenagers are on the white supremacy side of TikTok. They've expressed some interest in it, maybe they've even searched for it. They're going to get a lot of that content. So the first thing I would say is, you want to be mindful if your kid is on social media, what side of it are they on? You can find this out by asking. If you are monitoring their social media, you can go look at their For You page on YouTube, TikTok, and see what is there for them. This is critically important because we want teenagers to not be exposed, obviously, to harmful content, and to the degree that they're using social media, have the content that they engage with be positive, benign, or neutral, at least. The second big issue is problematic use, which is, even if your kid's only looking at cat videos, that should not get in the way of their overall healthy development. So a key way to think about keeping appropriate guardrails around social media, or truly any technology that your child is interacting with, is to think about it in terms of not allowing technology to interfere with what we know is critical for healthy development. Okay, so what's critical for healthy development? I'll give you a short list. Number one, sleep. Kids need sleep, we need sleep, and we all need a lot more sleep than we're probably getting. In terms of actual numbers, teenagers, high schoolers should be getting about 9 hours of sleep a night, middle schoolers should be getting about 10, and kids in elementary schools should be getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 hours of sleep or more. So thinking about your middle school and high school students, how are they coming along in sleep, and is technology getting in the way? We also don't want any kid's relationship, any teenager's relationship with social media and digital technology to get in the way of their in real life interactions. If they are spending more time online than they're spending with people in real life, that needs to be reassessed. And if we feel like the time online is getting in the way of meaningful in real life activities, that also should be reconsidered. Teenagers should also be physically active, just like kids. And sometimes social media can get in the way of that. And then finally, it's really important that young people help out around the house or in their community or both, and time spent with technology and social media should not get in the way of that either. So if you think in those two big categories of assessing your teenager's relationship with social media, is the content they are looking at safe, healthy, or at least neutral? And is the amount of time and the way that they are interacting with social media getting in the way of any of the things that are essential for healthy development? Sleep, in-person time with others, physical activity, and making contributions around the house or in the community.